Okay, welcome to the bunker. We're talking to Marley Wildthing. She has quite an unusual story for a musician. She has changed her name accidentally, started her music career as a 24-year-old after having a career in something completely different. Or, well, she didn't even start the career. She planned to have a career or something completely different. So she's kind of an accidental musician. She writes about the things that are going on in her life, how she's feeling. It's a very honest music that she has. And she plays a lot of instruments herself, has made some really cool videos, and she's very hardworking and has made a career out of this without being a megastar. It's really cool how she has done this. I also want to mention the sponsors. First of all, alfredjobs.cz. It's a Czech Republic's best looking job website with the best jobs for the best people. It's really a lot of best stuff. Anyway, so you can use Alfred as a web page or an app, and it's really easy. You don't really need to look for a job anymore. Alfred does it for you and sends you the jobs that are relevant to you. Check it out in Google Play and the Apple App Store or on alfred.cz. The other sponsor, the Oat Bar, the world-known Oat Bar, I would say now, in Karlín, just off Krysikova metro station, sends home through Volt and Bolt, and is open for takeaway. And amazing food, healthy yet tasty, nothing boring there. It's a party at every bite. It's really cool. Check it out, guys, and enjoy my show. Oh, and I almost forgot, guys. When you're listening to my podcast, please follow it, whether it's on Spotify, Google, Apple, or wherever you're listening. And I know at least on Apple you can review the show, so I wouldn't mind if you would write some kind words about me and leave a high rating. I don't accept ratings under 4 stars. That would be really helpful because I'm being told that would mean that more people would hear this. And thanks for all the feedback, and enjoy. Thank you.
Another body, another soul. I'll never get to know another one.
Welcome, Marley Wildthing, to the bunker.
Hello.
How are you?
Thanks for inviting me.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. And are you excited about being in my bunker?
Of course.
Who isn't? Who isn't?
Extreme.
Marley, you're a musician, and I saw you play maybe 3-4 years ago here in Prague.
Yeah.
But not everybody who's listening has seen you. How would you describe your music?
I would say indie with pop and folk elements. Live, it's mostly on ukulele or on bass and singing,
Yeah.
and looping a lot, usually.
And the name Wildthing, where does that come from?
So it was not really my choice to have this as an artistic name because so my last name is Wilfing. It's Austrian name, I don't know. And my name is Marlene, and I don't know, for some inside joke, I named myself on Facebook Marley Wildthing. And then I was playing in some little place somewhere in Žižkov. That was like my first gig and the first time I was in a lineup. And I was on the poster, and they didn't ask, they just used my Facebook name. And from that moment on, I was like, Marley Wildthing. I guess that's okay, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
It's a cool name. I mean, that song Wildthing with the trucks.
Yeah. You make my heart sing.
Yeah, exactly. I was sure it had something to do with that. But yeah, as I said, I think I saw you play live. I don't remember a lot about it. I was probably drunk.
Thanks.
No, I was probably very drunk, and yeah. So you're a musician here in Prague. I mean, and that's what you do, right? That's
Yes.
how you. Yeah, that's who you are.
Mhm.
But it started somewhere. You're from Austria, right?
Yes, exactly.
If you take me back a little bit to the beginnings.
My beginnings,
Yeah.
or like the beginnings of my music.
Yours,
Yeah. So
Marlene.
Marlene, not Marley.
Mm.
Yeah. So I grew up in Austria. I spent 3 years of my childhood in Budapest.
Mm.
That's where I learned English because I was in international kindergarten there. So I spoke English all day, which I think made my life and me traveling much easier in my life later. And yeah, also, I don't know, made me somehow later crave for traveling, I guess, in a way. Yeah. And then I guess my life after, I don't know if I have anything important to say about that.
No, but are you like are you born from the Holy Ghost, or you had parents and siblings, or
Yeah, I have 3 sisters.
yeah? So you're 4 girls,
Exactly, yes.
and your mom, and then your dad.
And dad, yeah. Dad with 5 women.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he moved out when I was 12, so.
Okay.
Um,
And these,
yes.
these
So I
sisters
was,
of yours, are they musicians also, or?
it's actually funny because my 2 older sisters, they used to sing a lot and do music. One of them was songwriting, and she was part of the Austrian version of The Voice or Superstar or what you want to call it. And me and my younger sister, we were kind of like hiding in the shadows a little bit. Like we were really shy, I think, both of us. And it actually, yeah, it's funny that the 2 older sisters, they kind of stopped. They just lost interest in music, and us 2 younger ones, we started, and now, yeah, I do it for a living, and my younger sister arranges music for choirs and yeah, and sings in several choirs.
So it turned opposite to what it was.
In a way, yeah.
And what do the others do? I mean, what was there? Is there like a family trait? Like, is everyone a doctor in your family, or?
No. I would say that we are all rather artistic. Like, although I mean, obviously it's hard to have like art as your main income, but I think that we all do art, like at least on the side. In like visually, my oldest sister does a lot with visual media for her company, and does videos and websites and stuff like this, for example.
And where did this come from in the family? Why was it from your parents or grandparents, or?
I don't know, actually. I think it, at least in my dad's family, it runs through the whole family, I would say. Like, I mean, you know, it depends on what is art for you, but I know that my aunts are sewing, and they do it really professional. And I think that this is a way of art as well, like making clothes. And I know that all my cousins, every one of them has a super nice voice, and they can all sing. So, yeah. And play instruments. Like one of my cousins does, how do you say, musical therapy.
So it's been there somehow.
Yeah, subconsciously, I guess. Like we're not making a big deal out of it or something.
Yeah,
like artsy family.
But it's where in Austria are you from? From Vienna or
Close to Vienna, countryside, like really close to the Czech border, actually.
And what kind of life is that? There is it like agricultural area, or what's the?
We make wine. That's really big where I come from.
Okay.
So my grandparents were wine farmers, and my uncle now has fruits, all kinds of. And I remember when I was small, I was helping like sorting the fruits and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And we helped with taking off the grapes and stuff. But like it was not like children's labor or something. It was like more something we had fun with. Like we helped a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it like a big business then? I mean, like this is their living. This is how they make a living, by being wine farmers.
Yeah. Well, they used to. Now my parents are not involved in that anymore. They just they went to school and then they work in offices.
Yeah,
I guess that's how it goes a lot nowadays.
But and talking about that, I mean, you, I know a little bit about you, not everything, but a little bit. But you went to educate yourself to become someone who would probably work in an office. So you
yeah, you mean my studies? Yeah. So I don't know, somehow I had the idea when I was 17 and I finished school that first I wanted to do psychology. I completely failed at the entrance exams and I was like, this is not what I want. And a spontaneous idea was I love Dutch language. So I started studying it and I finished it as well because it was, I don't know, it was really nice community as well. And yeah, so I speak fluently Dutch and since I finished, I haven't done much with it.
Godverdomme.
Godverdomme.
But how come that's what does that mean actually? Because I've been saying this godverdomme for many years, but I don't really know what it means in Dutch.
Well, it's just a random swear word. I would say it's like
or something.
Yeah,
sounds
like
great.
bullshit.
But Dutch, I mean, like, how can you develop a passion for Dutch?
Well, I don't know. I just thought it was really sweet, and Dutch people were always really sympathetic people to me in a way, and which probably also comes with my interest for Dutch because Dutch people don't expect you to learn the language. So when they figure out someone learns the language, and I was not great with vocabulary in no language I ever learned, but I'm good with accents. So I would really try and learn their accent so I sound like them. So that was even more surprising to them. And then everyone was super nice to me. So
that's cool. And for I don't know, like a interpreter from Dutch to German then, or Dutch to English, I guess. I mean those two.
Yeah, Dutch German was what I was planning.
Is that a big field?
Well, I know that there is work. I used to work at a translation office, but that was during my studies and I was not or barely translating there. I was mostly taking care of like the office work.
It's only really just I'm curious about this choice. It's such a I mean it's not like Spanish or French or Chinese or Russian or something. You know, it's actually your Dutch is a very small language as such, you know.
Yeah.
So me being from a tiny language in Iceland, and I'm always curious about people who are willing to learn these small languages.
Yeah, well, I don't know. In a way, I think it's nice to learn, especially those small languages, because they give you the opportunity to dive into the culture a lot. Whereas I think, you know, like for a French speaker, it's not so surprising if you speak French, and it doesn't really like, I don't know, it doesn't really get you their attention as much as if you learn a small language and you go there and you tell the people like
you're a superstar.
Yeah, everyone's like, wow, cool, come with us, let's go for a drink. I don't know. So
yeah, it's an interesting choice, but what you kind of you never really made a career out of it though.
No, not because I didn't hate it, or like it's not because there was nothing for me, but it's more like my whole life just changed when I finished, I would say.
Yeah, how?
Well, I got out of a very long relationship, and so while I mean, like, I don't want to let it sound wrong. Like I had a lot of fun when I was young. Like also during that relationship, like I went out a lot, but I never really, I never really felt free to go wherever I want, just because like if you're with someone, you think of them and you involve them in your plans. And all of a sudden I didn't have anyone to think of. So, and I needed to, I don't know, revolt a little bit with myself as well. So I just had to like go places and try out everything I wanted. And so I started traveling, and I had a friend in Czech Republic, and I was visiting her a couple of times, and I saw that I really like life here. So I went here, and there was just nothing with Dutch in Prague for me. So yeah, I had no choice.
But and what did you like about Prague? I mean, what was it that attracted you to Prague?
It was the artist communities, I would say. So first of all, my friend worked for a film school. So I met all those crazy filmmaker people. And for me, it was just like, wow, okay, that's a different world. And they were all, weird people, but super nice people, and I felt pretty welcomed there. And also I saw much more live music than I have ever in Vienna. I'm not blaming Vienna for that, more like myself not giving it enough of a chance maybe. And I started, like I was playing there a little bit, and I just wanted to see what comes out of it.
It's a music scene is in Vienna. I guess it's either Schubert or Falco. Because when I googled music in Austria, I got Falco and then Schubert.
Yeah, well, he was big.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm surprised to see how the music scene in Vienna is growing a lot, like in all over Austria. Because when I left Austria to Prague, the public radios in Austria wouldn't play Austrians. And now it changed a lot, and there's a lot of ways Austrian bands are actually supported, which I think is great, and which also like doesn't make me want to move back completely. But I saw recently that I really like the Austrian music scene, and that I would like to also spend some time there.
So you come here as a proper business interpreter going to be, but you changed.
Well, I was not an interpreter, actually.
No, but that was the original plan. I mean, to use the Dutch to...
Yeah, interpreter or translator. I wasn't really fixed on that idea yet. But yeah, I don't know. I threw it all overboard, and I was like, okay, let's see what I can find in Prague. I had some side job as a translator, actually, but German, English. I didn't really have... I don't know why they took me, to be honest, because I didn't study that or anything, but I guess I presented myself well. Yeah, and it was like a 20 hours a week job, so I had a lot of time to see the nightlife of Prague too.
Yeah. And you say that you like the kind of the art and music scene here. And for me, it's I don't see it very much on the surface. Like you see, there's a lot of concerts here that with like larger bands and so on. But what I don't seem to have been able to find is that more of a small scale, like bands coming out of the garage, and playing and this kind of scene. Is that big here?
I do think so. I mean, obviously it's hard to talk about how it is now, but for example, I knew that there was at least, I don't know, 2 jam sessions a week I could go to, and 3 open mics somewhere. So it's like you have either jam session or open mic nearly every day of the week. And then I mean, that's just a part, but I think that's a really important place to find new musicians that you like or meet new people that you like, and that you might want to make music with as well. And yeah, and there's a lot of small concerts. I would say it's just if you don't know the musicians or the places, it might be kind of difficult to find them.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I have, that it's not very concentrated. It seems to be more like smaller clusters here and there or something like that. I don't know.
It's hard to tell because since I moved here, I think that you are right in a way. Like it's difficult to reach other people than musicians with those little concerts and all the small things going on. So it probably is like a little bit artist bubble, and yeah, it's just hard for people who are not in this bubble to find things and to actually like get there really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just curious because I've always liked to see live music and so on, but I felt that getting down to this more beginner level, or I don't know, or entry level, has been harder than in a lot of other places that I've been. But so you come here, you get out of that relationship, you decide not to pursue the translation interpreter, the Dutch career as such, but at that time you're already involved in music somehow, or did that just start here?
Well, I started performing here. I would say before I came to Prague, I had one performance, and that was at my exchange semester. They had some international tiny festival, and I played 2 songs there. And I was pretty drunk because otherwise I wouldn't have made it on stage. But yeah, so other than that, nothing, I would say. And then, I came to Prague and I started playing because for me it was easier to play at a place where I know no one actually. And also, I mean, you might have the same experience. It's when you come to a new place, you can redefine yourself completely. Like you're not defined by what the people who already knew you for, I don't know, for 4 or 5 or 10 years, what they think of you, but you can be what you think you are now actually, because you might change so much during a couple of years.
You can be Wildthing.
Yes. That's what I became.
Yeah, but I totally agree. I think that it's somehow moving out of your previous environment, or your, especially where you were,
zone.
Yeah, and it really frees you to do things that you wouldn't do before, and it's definitely helped, but it's still, I mean, on the other hand, it's not like people can just pick up an instrument and go on stage. I mean, you must have had some practice, or how. Or you just started from scratch?
No, not really. I mean, I had music education since I was a kid, but I was always lazy. So I learned piano, I think from 7 till 10 or something, which definitely helped me understood harmonies and melodies and stuff like this, and how instruments work in general. And then later on, I learned guitar a little bit by myself. Then I picked up ukulele, and that was actually something I really enjoyed. So I was learning a lot of songs, but the thing is, I never played for anyone. So for me, playing for someone, and like especially showing someone the songs that I wrote myself, was such a huge step. And I appreciate everyone, like, I don't know, there's musicians that are 16 and they can present their own songs, and I knew that I would have never been able to do that. So I think that's super cool.
And you play, you said you play the guitar a little bit, you play the ukulele, you play the bass. I think you do some percussions as well, like or
Yeah, more for fun, not professionally. Sometimes I play with my boyfriend, and when he plays guitar, he plays percussions really well, and he can sing with it as well. So I try that sometimes a little bit. It's not as great, but for me it's fun.
And so you start playing music here, you start getting new people, and then you started making your own songs, or did you start? You had your own songs right away, or?
I think. Well, I know that when I was a kid, I was writing my own lyrics to famous songs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were not better than the original ones, but I felt like it was a way to express. I just remember that I tried to write some lyrics to a song by Passion Fruit. I don't know if you remember this band.
No.
Super poppy. And later on, I also tried to write myself stuff, like with piano or probably with guitar as well. But it was more like, I don't know, I never pursued anything with it. And yeah, then when I came to Prague, or like even before, I had all of this mess in my head. So I started writing as a therapy. But for me, like writing didn't come like in diary form, like Dear Diary, you know. It was more like I wrote poems because somehow I liked it more as a way of expression. And those poems just became songs at some point. And yeah, that's how I guess most of my songs actually came up.
Vexing my feet, tickling my toes. No wonder.
So you're singing about things that are actual or real, and I can feel that when I listen to your music.
Definitely. I mean, in the beginning when I wrote, it was much about how to say mental problems. So I have a song called Tunnel Vision, and it's about how you are sometimes stuck in this tunnel vision and you don't see anything like on your side. You just, I don't know, you just see the tunnel and you hope that there's some end of it. So it's like.
And have you felt like that? Have you felt that yourself at some point?
Yeah, a lot for a while. I had, how to say, I had some hormonal issues, and I thought that it was actually mental issues until I found out that there's maybe something wrong with my body more than with my head.
That must have been a relief. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean that, you know, from that moment on, everything was fine, but it's a relief to know what is wrong with you and to be able to work on it. So
and how, and that those issues gave you a tunnel vision, or, you know, or made you depressed, or?
Yeah, it made me depressed in a way. It gave me anxiety attacks in a way, and made me very, like incapable to deal with people a lot of times, which it didn't. The thing is, like, it didn't come up when I performed because I always feel very comfortable when I do music. It's more like when I talk to people, then I get stressed.
And here you are talking to a total stranger.
Yeah. Well, lately I feel quite okay. So.
But where do you think this comes from? I mean, do you or because you're not shy.
No, generally not. I don't know. It's really hard to figure out where it came from. I mean, I know what was my the problem in my body, which was basically that like a very female thing, and I think that actually I heard since I figured out that this can happen. I heard from other girls that have it as well, which is basically just that your body. I mean, I'm 29. I should be fine hormonally, but my body was preparing for menopause,
Yeah.
which
it
is like
happens.
very fucked up.
Yeah.
And I'm not
20 years too early.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I can, but I partly blame it on the pill because I think that it's not as
harmless,
great of like I don't know, solving all the problems as it was sold to me when I was 16 or something. Yeah. So yeah.
But this personal feelings in your songs, I mean, they're also about love and these kind of relationships with people.
Yeah.
And I think there's one song that is called No Room, and isn't it in that song that you say there's no room for me in your life?
Yeah. So that song I wrote in the beginning of a relationship, like when it was not formed yet. It's actually I'm still with that person.
Yeah.
So he's still
my boyfriend. There was room for you.
He proved that there was room for me, yeah. But yeah, it was in the beginning where I was, let's say, really worried. It was basically one night and he was out with friends and he went out a lot. And I was just, I didn't get any replies. So it's like really a minor deal.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was worried, like, if he's gonna actually have room in his life for me and if he's gonna let me in that life. Because before I had, like mostly strange relationships. So, like I was overthinking all the time and I was just
probably the first woman that I ever heard say that you were overthinking.
Yeah, I'm very special.
No, but I actually think that men do the same. We do overthink it. We just don't admit it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you overthink in a little different ways, but it comes to the same thing. Like you make your life difficult for no reason.
The heart knows to see reason. When there's none. I'm incapable.
But if I look at the kind of the progression of your music, I felt like it has gone a little bit from this feel-good, happy music at first into, it's a little bit deeper or darker now, right? Or maybe not darker, but deeper somehow.
Yeah, well, I think, as I evolve, and also, well, the thing is like the happy music, I don't know how to say. The first song I ever released, it was called "The Man Who Became You," and it's a very pretty song. But I had a very little part of me in the production because a friend of mine did it. I wrote the song and I played the instrument on it and stuff, but most of the work he did. So like he made it as he saw me, I guess.
So you don't feel it's your touch on it as much as you.
Yeah, although as much as I grow apart from it, I actually really appreciate his work because I think he made it very pretty. But yeah, so the production was not so much up to me, and nowadays the production is only up to me. So I think, and also it's like the more I write music, the more I learn in writing, because I think that also writing and creating, like not only the mechanical part, but also the part in your head, it's a learning process. Yeah. It's like with every song you write, you learn more about songwriting and how you want your songs to sound, and your taste might change as well. So I think for me now it gets more and more important to write something that actually, I don't know, that talks to someone or that might show someone something that I find important. Whereas in the beginning it was more like I wrote about my love stories or stuff like this.
But these messages, because you're recording something, or you and your boyfriend are recording something now that is like sounds of nature and these kind of things. Is that music, or is it more an act, or
No, it is music, and I would say that it's mostly pop, but with a very ambiental, natural touch. Like we also have a lot of elements from world music in there, and we try to, use for the sounds that you usually have in production to like make it rise or make it fall. We try to use a lot of natural elements, like things that we recorded with bushes, or I don't know, I let stones fall, stuff like this. We did that ourselves, and even though like no one might really hear it and know it, for me it was important to really to create sounds ourselves and not use whatever is given already.
And these sounds are from nature because you feel nature is important, or you know what, you have a message with this somehow.
Yeah. Well, we this, other than the songs that I write, this project was actually, it came like we wanted to do this. And we were thinking like, what do we want to create? And since it was during first lockdown that we started this, we said like, the whole world is a huge mess and our lives are a mess because we cannot do our job, which is music. We cannot perform. So we just wanted to do something that is calming and that is beautiful. And we just found that nature is calming and beautiful and like calming, but still alive. So we thought it was a good way to start off with, with starting from nature, kind of, and then putting our like,
adding your art
into it.
On top of it. And you have this song "Melting" also that is about the use of plastic and so you're very much conscious about these things. I mean, you're on nature's side.
More and more. Yeah. I guess it started probably 2 years ago. I stopped eating meat just because I thought it was a good thing to do. And since then I tried to educate myself on what is happening, how can I actually do things and live without harming anyone and anything.
Translucent, no filter inside. Can mask the dark, cannot the light. It's a dissolve protection caused by too much affection.
So Marley, you're a full-time musician and you've been there for quite some time now, right?
Yes, for a couple of years. 3, I guess.
And how is this? Like, what kind of live is this? I mean, are you playing live all the time, or what have you done? I mean,
so I started with small bar gigs, and well, in a way, I stayed with it. I mean, I learned a lot from it, and so I kind of like doing those bar gigs. First of all, because they are mostly paid, and you play for a lot of different people, and a lot of times, like, you don't have to always invite your close friends and bother them to come, but
to fill the crowd, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just fun that you always play for a different crowd, and you never know what you get, and you might have unexpectedly great night or just super boring one. So that's what I did. I don't know, like every third day. For a while I was performing nearly every day. lately it was a little less because I wanted to play only at the places that actually I choose, not play 3-4 hour sets, because it's just like that takes all the passion away from you.
Yeah. And what's the like? But you were also playing outdoors. You were busking, right?
Yeah. I was after a year in Prague, I started traveling around a little bit because Prague became too much for me. And I was traveling to Panama and New Orleans. And this is where I started busking. And and I really liked it. And actually, this travel made me realize that everything I do points into the direction of music. So when I came back, I was right away going to Prague, not to Austria. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do this here now? And I started playing on the streets. I was playing on Václavské náměstí, just with my ukulele, no amplification. I had nothing. And it was strange. Like, it takes a lot of courage to start, actually. And once you start it, for the first time, like, it gets kind of easier, and then the next times are still always hard to begin, but it gets better. And yeah, it teaches you a lot, because people on the streets, if they stop, they really stop for you. And you know, it's not like they sit in a bar and you're there as well. No, it's like it's only you there, and you're super vulnerable. And you know, people might be even bad to you because they didn't ask you to be there, right? Like, no one asked you to be there, and you have to be okay with that fact. And I had like people shouting out of a window for me to stop. I mean, it was Czech, but I could kind of understand that it was not a friendly shouting. Or I had homeless people stealing my tips for once or twice, which felt really strange. But then also I was not in the position to, you know, like try to run after them or something. I was just like, well, you must really need it. And it just I think playing on the street teaches you a lot. It's like, you become less scared of things in the best way. But for me, nothing ever made me more scared when I played on the streets. You know, even like weird people coming to you, trying to talk to you or something. For me, it was just, I saw it like as a lesson from life, I guess. And that I can actually do that, and that I don't need anyone else to help me in that.
Yeah. And then when you moved into playing in bars and stuff like that, and you told me that you had some really weird gigs, like, or let's say gigs that I wouldn't really expect anyone to play at necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, there was quite some weird gigs. Some you know, like just that I felt it was weird, like a weird mood or something. But sometimes the music was really misplaced. Like, especially in Czech Republic, I had it a lot of times that random places booked musicians because it's not so expensive in here, I think. And or like a lot of musicians aren't asking too much. And then you end up in a super small underground bar playing at a table football tournament where like no one cares about music, right? And we did not have a stage. Like, we were placed right next to the table. It was 3 of us, like me, my boyfriend, and the bass player. And yeah, basically their hello was they put like a huge bottle of Jameson next to us, and they were like, "This is for you," which motivated us in a way.
But do you feel like I mean, when you get into a situation like that, do you think like, what the fuck?
Sometimes, but I don't know. I guess I have it somehow in my nature that I just accept some things in a way, or like I accept things that I cannot change at the moment, and I just try to learn from them for the next time. Like, you know, as long as I'm not treated badly or something, obviously, but and like in a way, you know, the people who booked us, they were actually nice. Like they were happy that we were there. Obviously, it's just like the audience was not
very engaged.
What you would expect. Like they were just super loud and really drunk, but they were friendly to us. Like no one treated us bad. It's just like, you know, as an upcoming musician, you would like two people, you know, to really watch you and listen to your words and stuff.
and I mean, when you have a gig like this, I mean, it's easily, it would be easy to see someone think that, okay, this I don't want to do this. I'd never.
No, I never thought this. I mean, obviously, like everyone has their weak moments, and I have as well. And I had moments where I came home from gigs that didn't go as I wanted. Like I had one gig at a place that I actually really like, so I probably was expecting too much from it. And I played, and I don't know, there was someone saying really weird things about my outfit. I don't know what it was, but he probably didn't mean it badly. He was maybe drunk or something. But I remember that I was really angry when I came home, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Yeah, but you know, it's like you get up after this and you're like, okay, maybe I have to change something, and then you change that. Or in that special situation, actually, I wrote a song about it. That was that turned out very sarcastic, but I know that a lot of my friends really like it because they are musicians, and it's called Soul for Sale. So it kind of, you know, I'm just making fun, and I'm singing like, I'm just a girl and I play a toy, like my ukulele, and my soul is for sale. And yeah.
But so
my smile is for cheap.
But do you basically take these negative or more, let's say, less positive experiences and you use them to build yourself or develop yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think that for many of the things I learned, if there wouldn't have been negative things said to me, or like also things that I couldn't manage happening to me, I would not get better from them. Like also, I mean, you know, in a way, if you get criticism, it feels very negative to you, but you can choose to learn something from it and actually take it seriously. And I think that's what I did with many things that happened.
Don't wake me up, 'cause life is falling down a bed of 1,000 pebble stones, not heavy on their own, burying me one by one. Oh, just don't leave my side, 'cause all I'm waiting for is to lie.
I looked at some of your music videos on YouTube, and I was actually kind of surprised of. It kind of felt like a big time production somehow. I mean, the quality, I have to say that. I mean, I didn't expect your videos to be bad, but the quality is actually really, really good. How do you finance this? You know, or how do you make this work?
Well, for a long time, and I think still, I'm living very small. So, I mean, for example, I care very much about what I wear, but I get it all secondhand. I don't spend much money, or I make it myself. And I live like this in a lot of parts of life, I guess. Like I also, for a while, I wasn't going out at all because I wanted to save my money and save my time and actually create something rather than destroying myself. So I think that I really saved a lot of money since I started doing music, and I just spent it on music, like other than any other distraction in life. And Yeah. And also, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this though if I wouldn't have met filmmakers that actually helped me to create something really nice on a budget. Like some of them, guys I worked with on 2 videos, they cared about being part of the composition of the visual ideas and story of the music videos, and in return for that we kind of share the creation. They didn't really ask for money. Like, of course, I paid for the production and stuff, but not like that they would get something out of it, basically.
Yeah, you paid the out-of-pocket costs, or
Yeah, and some of the professionals on set, but yeah, mostly everyone was doing it out of passion, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think guys that are listening, you should definitely check out Marley Wildthing. Check out her videos. I really, really cool stuff.
Thank you.
So maybe a little bit like, so you, where's your family on this? I mean, do they understand your choices? Because I mean, you on at some point in life, everything pointed towards let's say a corporate business, or like, you know what I mean, like
a normal life.
Yeah, normal life. I don't know, be an interpreter, a translator, diplomatic service, or business, or some export, or something like this, you know. And now here you are, kind of, I guess, especially now with all this COVID stuff going on, it's a struggle. I mean, or you go into that hustle, you know, like it's a. Where are they on this? You know, what do they think?
I know that everyone was pretty surprised, but I was never really questioned in my choices. And I think that's something that is very positive about my parents and my whole family, that no one ever thought like, okay, like when are you gonna finish doing your bullshit and like get a real job and stuff? I mean, I had one aunt, I think, asking me once, like, what am I exactly, if I can live off of music, or if I'm just like I don't know how to translate this. She said it in German, like bohemian kind of, you know, like trying to like somehow survive. And I told her, like, no, I do music and I can live off of this, and it is my work, it's my job, although it's my passion too. So yeah, but overall, also when the first lockdown started, I was with my boyfriend at my mom's place for a whole 3 months, and she was incredible, like just being really supportive and understanding and trying to make us feel good there. And that's how it felt in the end. Like, first lockdown for me was something really positive in a way.
Oh, that's great. But the what's the outlook? I mean, what's the future? Do you think that you'll be doing the same if I meet you in 5 years from now?
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to tell. I try to, and I think when I told this to my parents, it also made them feel a little better about me and my future. Because I try to, you know, not only like learn more cover songs, let's say, for future bar gigs or something like this. I worked on, well, first of all, I spent all my time since second lockdown in learning more about production, producing my own album, which means like choosing all the sounds, creating all the sounds. Yeah, which is, it sounds like little, but it's a lot of work, especially if you've never done it in that extent. So I spent, I don't know, thousands of hours. No, I'm not sure. But a lot of time definitely on this, and also in booking. So yeah, I try to get more involved in the Czech scene in general.
So you're kind of getting into the industry from not only as a performer, but so that you can create, maybe the future holds a role for you doing more than just music, or
exactly,
even
like, you know, not only being the performer, not only being the singer, which I think is a very important thing for also girls to think of, to not be reduced to just the singer of a band. But I know how to record myself. I'm helping a friend of mine with live recordings, for example, where I do the sound, and it's not a huge thing, but it helps me to, like think of practical solutions for recording environment, for example. Or I learned a lot at my friends' studios where we are just able to try out different things. And yeah, I think it's just good to understand everything around music, not only the songwriting, not only the singing, but, educate yourself in more ways, so that maybe at some point you don't want to play in little pubs anymore, but maybe you want to produce music, or you want to be a sound engineer for, I don't know, something, or just book other artists or help them make a career.
But you said this, that like it's important for girls to realize that it's or that girls take a bigger role. Are there any particular idols that you have in this when you look at your music, and who do you look up to?
Yes, definitely. Two I can think of one is Emily King. She's a songwriter from New York, and I really like her story because she started out being signed with some major label. I don't know what it was exactly, but she put out this first album, and you hear that it's like it has this very R&B pop vibe, and it's produced like all the other things out there, kind of. Like, I mean, she's talented, but yeah, the music is just like nice. And then she went away from this label, and she started just creating her own stuff at home, or I don't know, in the studio of a friend or something. And she brought out this EP called the 7 EP, and it's beautiful. And like it's so humble and so creative in a way, and very personal. And when I heard this, I was like, wow, okay, so this is what one person can actually create. I mean, she probably had help, but she produced it. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, maybe I could do this too. Like, not comparing myself, obviously,
but taking that route.
Yeah. And then recently I also found an Austrian that I think is really interesting. Her artist name is called Soap and Skin, and she makes less poppy music than Emily King I was talking about before, but very interesting, like mixing different elements, mixing brass in her music, sometimes having it really light and like kind of healing vibe, and sometimes really dark. And yeah, I recently like to listen to female musicians a lot because it's very inspiring to me.
And there's a lot of good ones out there now. I mean, like, and it has changed actually now that you say it, because I remember when I was a teenager, then a female singer was usually just that.
Yeah,
the
like
singer,
the front singer of a band.
Exactly. And
of a male band otherwise.
or composed by some males that put her in the front. And it has changed a lot. And you see, like Lady Gaga as an example, seems to be very much of a one-person show.
Yeah.
And so what's the reward in this? I mean, like if you think about it, like you're playing a lot of bar gigs, not always just your own music. You moved away from your family and your background, and you're here. I mean, obviously living in Prague is a nice thing. I know that. But what's the reward for you? What's in it for you?
Well, that's the question. I mean, it's art is not always rewarded. So I think you just have to be aware that the good thing about it is that you spend your life creating something and doing something that you like, and maybe it's not easy, and maybe you will struggle, like in ways that that people always worked for someone don't have in their everyday life. Like, I'm not saying that people who don't do art struggle less. It's just like I think it's difficult to realize for someone who has a more or less safe job how it is for artists that actually like as if you would have to write application letters every day for a job that lasts only one day. And then you do it all over again. So I guess that's a very weird thing about being an artist. But yeah, when you see that you touched someone in a way, or that you influenced someone in a positive way, which you do a lot when you perform live, because people come to you and they say something nice, they clap, you see that I don't know, that you could inspire them in a way. And I had a lot of people talking to me that actually I made them want to like play ukulele more, or to learn singing better. And this is the ultimate reward, I think, to know that you touched someone.
And it's very instant, because when you're playing live like you do a lot, then you get this feedback right away. You know, it's not like you need to wait after 3 months I'll see it in an Excel file somewhere, you know, like it's a very instant feedback somehow. I guess. I've played live, but it was not a very successful thing. They took the electricity off the house to stop us. But how what's next? I mean, what are you doing now? Are you going to publish something soon or?
Yeah. So well, I had a lot of time lately to actually not really to write songs. I didn't write anything new, but I produced a lot of stuff and really shaped it in a way that I think is nice to listen to. Also, maybe a little different. I try to not go too much into the mainstream pop thing, but so this spring we're gonna release the EP that I wrote with my boyfriend called Wildflower EP, with 6 songs, and they are all, well, they are kind of different, but they are all pretty calm and, I don't know, feeling like more ambiental, slow, not like all fireworks and stuff, but still, you know, like they all have beats and stuff, so they are not only slow to chill to, but they have something that keeps them going and that makes them feel alive. And then what I'm working on now mostly is probably going to be released in autumn, which feels like forever still. And that's my debut album, because until now I released only singles, and I thought it was time to have a full album, even though it's not that important nowadays anymore, but I felt like for me I want to have this.
And that you're recording here in Prague, I guess, and collaborating with musicians here. And
exactly, so most of those songs I recorded with my band, like the people that I play live with sometimes. So that's a drummer and a bass player and a guitarist. And then I had some guest musicians as well. Like I had one guy for 2 songs on cello, which is absolutely beautiful. I love cello. And some flute in the songs before. And I had one friend recording for me nose flute and harmonicas. He's a really good friend of mine.
Didn't even know that nose flute exists.
I've never seen it on anyone, and he told me it's quite complicated to play.
I can imagine that.
I don't know. I didn't try. But yeah, it's funny. It has like a little creepy sounds, like like this kind of
ghostly sounding.
I
what I liked very much about your songs was that because I read some interview with you or something where you said that they were simple, or that you didn't like them to be overcomplicated, but they were actually there was a lot of details in them, and I liked that. Like you used a lot of different instruments, and there was a lot of different sounds, and I wouldn't say that when listening to one of your songs I could say, oh, that's a trademark Marley Wildthing song or anything like that. And I really liked how diverse it is. So I'm looking forward to hearing both the EP and then the big one in the autumn. Just for the people following the show and listening, where can they follow you? I mean, where is the best place to see more about you?
Most of my things are on Facebook and Instagram, I would say, as Marley Wildthing. You can find me there. All the full videos I post on YouTube usually. So but all the news and stuff I always put on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, great. And that's Marley Wildthing, guys. You want to check her out for sure.
Marley like Bob Marley and Wildthing like the song.
So I think I have kind of obviously if you like the show, then please follow it. You can review it, I think, at least on Apple Podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. If you know any people that are doing cool stuff or have an interesting story, let me know. Preferably people here in Prague, where I am, so that I can meet them. We have a page on Facebook, The Bunker, How the Hell Did We End Up Here, where I post the episodes and occasionally try to be funny. And I have an Instagram account called Bunker Prague, I think. But there I'm also trying to be funny, but failing miserably.
Don't go there.
Don't check it out. And I think that's it. My dog is here.
It's very cute.
Yeah, Aska, she has spent some time here.
Does she have an Instagram?
Yeah, she actually has an Instagram. Aska the Aussie. She has more followers.
I would follow her.
Yeah, she has more followers than her father, and more followers than the show. It says a lot about me. But
or maybe about her.
Yeah, she's very cute. She's celebrating her second birthday today, so it's been a big day for her.
So leave her some wishes.
Yeah. I think that's it. Marley, thanks a lot for coming. I'm very happy to hear your story, and
thank you. That was fun.
The world needs more people like you, I have to admit. So enjoy the rest of the evening, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
When you got no room, when you're high, where am I? When you're in, what should I think? When you're up, does love just stop? When you're in shit, is this the only time I exist? You got no room for me. No room. No room. You got no room for me. So hard to try to fit in. Your shelf is to the top, filled with your own stuff. How can I believe when you got no room for me? How can I believe when you got house is too big. I'm lost, I'm weak. This house is too big. I'm lost, I'm weak. This house is too big. I'm lost, I'm weak. This house is too big. And still, it's too small for the both of us.